There's something in these pictures you can't see. It's essential to life. We breathe it out. Plants breathe it in. It comes from animal life, the oceans, the earth, and the fuels we find in it. It's called carbon dioxide, CO2. The fuels that produce CO2 have freed us from a world of back-breaking labor, lighting up our lives, allowing us to create and move the things we need, the people we love. Now some politicians want to label carbon dioxide a pollutant. Imagine if they succeed. What would our lives be like then? Carbon dioxide. They call it pollution. We call it life.
Hi, I'm Nancy Pelosi, lifelong Democrat and Speaker of the House.
And I'm Newt Gingrich, lifelong Republican, and I used to be Speaker.
We don't always see eye to eye, do we, Newt?
No, but we do agree our country must take action to address climate change.
We need cleaner forms of energy, and we need them fast.
If enough of us demand action from our leaders, we can spark the innovation we need.
Go to wecansolveit.org. Together, we can do this.
Hell, let's face it, we're polar opposites.
We couldn't be further apart. I'm on the left.
And I'm usually right. And we strongly disagree.
Except on one issue. Tell them what it is, Reverend Pat.
That would be our planet. Taking care of it is extremely important.
We all need to work together, liberals and conservatives.
So get involved. It's the right thing to do.
Now there you go again.
Join us. Together we can solve the climate crisis. Go to wecansolveit.org.
You know, I've owned 3 different jets in my life, and used them and just burning them up for the Lord Jesus Christ. He said, I want you to believe me for a Falcon 7X. So I said, okay.
A Falcon 7 jet like this one to preach to more people around the world. And he's asking his followers for the $54 million.
I really believe that if Jesus was physically on the earth today, he wouldn't be riding a donkey.
People are not affecting climate change. You're going to tell me that back in the Ice Age, how much taxes did people pay and how many changes did governments make to melt the ice? The climate is going to continue to change.
Let me tell you folks about global warming, especially you young folks out there. Don't worry about it.
What does the president actually believe about climate change? Does he still believe it's a hoax? Could you clarify that, since apparently nobody else in the White House can?
Yeah, I have not had an opportunity to have that discussion.
Would it be possible for you to have that conversation with him and then report back to us at the next briefing?
If I can, I will.
For as long as I have been alive, it's been hot in the summer. For the month of August, it's going to be about 2 degrees hotter than the previous August. Well, let's take a minute and think about that. Here's what we should ask ourselves. Why is that even in the news?
I don't know if you saw this guy. He was on Laura Ingraham, and he used to be, it's so funny. It's, it's farce. Marx is right. History repeats itself. First as tragedy and then as farce. This guy used to be a lobbyist for the tobacco industry. Now he's a climate change denier. So, of course, he's got a open door invitation over at Fox News. Here he is. No comment. I'm not going to argue, talk back. I'm just going to play you what he said to Laura Ingraham.
Look, the air is ugly. It's unpleasant to breathe. And for a lot of people, they get anxiety over it. But the reality is there's no health risk. Okay, there's EPA research. They've done lots of clinical research on asthmatics, on elderly asthmatics, on children, on elderly with heart disease. Not a cough or a wheeze from any of them. We have this kind of air in India and China all the time. No public health emergency.
This is Steve Malloy. He's a climate science denier. He used to work for the tobacco industry. He is a hideous human being. I mean, just look at this guy. He's a grotesquerie.
This doesn't kill anybody. This doesn't make anybody cough. This is not a health event. This has got nothing to do with climate. First off, this is wildfire smoke. This is natural.
He said, this is wildfire smoke. It's natural. If it's natural, it has to be good for you, right? Like tobacco. You know, you used to be a lobbyist for the tobacco industry. It's natural. How could it be bad for you? Tobacco's a plant, you POS. You know, oil is natural. It comes from the ground. It can't be bad for you if it's natural. So Laura Ingraham got a little spooked, and she asked about particulates in the air.
No, particulate matter is very fine soot.
You don't want to be breathing that in all day.
Just carbon particles. They're innocuous. Okay, by them, they're innocuous. There's nothing in them. They have no effect. The EPA has all this testing on real live human beings that shows no effect. This is total junk science.
Particulates, they're just fine. They're fine particles. They're fine. They wouldn't be called, why are they called fine if they're bad for you? They're fine. Well, she got a little spooked and she realized, well, wait a second, we can't tell people not to worry about this.
Here in New York City, have you heard about it? Many cities on the East Coast primarily have this big blanket of orange smog right over the top of it. Our woke friends to the north in Canada, their forest fires got out of hand, and, well, this is what we're dealing with. It's complicating some people's lives, but it's manageable. I'll tell you, it actually smells like wood smoke. It's not an unpleasant odor, to be honest. It's kind of weird when it seeps into the building, but outdoors, I can deal with it.
We have now surpassed what we were supposed to prevent with Paris. 8 years on, it's happened, folks. The world is going to end.
I've been trying to tell this story for 30 years, and the dominant experience I've had is seeing the new evidence come in, at first month by month and week by week. Now there are studies every day practically, and it just keeps getting clearer and stronger.
America's on the verge of technological breakthroughs that will enable us to live our lives less dependent on oil.
The evidence is sufficient that we should move towards the most effective possible steps to reduce carbon loading of the atmosphere.
I think we have to accept the view that scientists have, that there is global warming and that human operation, human condition contributes to that.
You have over 90% of the world's scientists who have studied this, stating that climate change is occurring and that humans play a contributing role. It's time to defer to the experts.
Are you convinced that climate change is man-made?
Well, I don't know that that is a resolved issue in science today.
I think that there'll be little change here. It'll go up, it'll get a little cooler, it'll get a little warmer like it always has for millions of years. It'll get cooler, it'll get warmer. It's called weather. I think it's a big scam for a lot of people to make a lot of money.
The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord. Thank you.
The message is over to governments at this stage. We've told you the scientific facts, the evidence, the costs. It is up to the governments now to decide what to do with it.
Como he dicho antes, estamos saliendo del invierno y ya estamos sufriendo pues temperaturas propias del verano, incendios también propios del verano. La emergencia climática no es una emergencia futura, es una crisis actual y también urgente, y por eso creo que el negacionismo no cabe.
A milestone not worth celebrating. Experts from the U.S. National Centers for Environmental Prediction have declared that 3rd of July was the hottest day ever recorded globally.
The average temperature reached 17.01 degrees Celsius, surpassing the August 2016 record of 16.9. Advocates have called the unprecedented heat a death sentence.
Heat waves in India and a heat dome in the southern U.S. the past month have led to dangerously high temperatures. Parts of China have also endured record-breaking heat, with the mercury rising to more than 35 degrees Celsius. Over in Europe, UK residents swelter through the hottest June since records began, while Spain, too, saw its warmest spring ever this year.
Experts say it is not only the rising temperatures that's concerning, but the magnitude with which it's increasing is also cause for alarm. And the World Meteorological Organization now warning that 2024 will match the current hottest year on record due to a combination of human-induced climate change and the El Nino weather pattern.
If this keeps up, this 2023 could well end up being the warmest year on record. And it's a sign that global climate change is strongly with us and is going to continue to influence things.
Look out your window. Do you see fire raining from the sky? Do you see 4 horsemen on the apocalypse? Do you see, my point is, the world didn't end. We're at 1.5 degrees. They said it would be too late if we reached there, that we had to stop that. And yet, now, all this time, they've been talking about El Nino. Well, okay. 1.5 degrees doesn't care whether it's caused by El Nino or climate change. It's still 1.5 degrees. My suspicion is that now that we've reached it, they'll stop talking about El Nino altogether. Or it'll only be an afterthought. Climate, we've reached the 1.5 degree threshold. I don't know how they're going to play it because we've reached it and the world's not ended.
Should be, I would think. Oh,
Can I get a back count?
we're fucked. We're so fucked. We're so fucked.
No, we're not. No,
I'm sorry, Shelly. I'm sorry. Oh, God, we're so fucked.
No, you got this. You got this. Oh, my God, we're dying.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
No, God.
Oh, no.